Welcome live into the JRC. My name is Aiden Bolsgaard, and it is semifinal Sunday here at the Larry Bishop. I'll be your pregame show and intermission show host, joined right now by color commentator Mo Joma. Mo, how are you doing on this Sunday?
Great. I'm really excited to see two perennial powers go at it here from the JRC, and as each try to book their way into the final tomorrow.
Okay, Mo, so let's start off our little recap of this tournament. We're going to go through the standings from the bottom to the top, as we only have 3 teams left standing, that being the Rebels and the Shamrocks today, and then the Mavs waiting for their matchup on Monday. But again, starting from the bottom, it's the CROW Lacrosse Club. 0-4 record through this tournament, but I think honestly the best showing they maybe could have asked for such a young, high-powered offense CROW team. What's your thoughts there, Mo?
Yeah, you know what? It was a tough Friday for them, but then they responded, I thought, quite nicely on Saturday. You know, they had that really tough game with the Kings where they were able to just hang in and hang in. Horn was unbelievable. Will Horn, the goaltender, making breakaway save after breakaway save, 2-on-1s galore. He stood tall. Fodchuk with some highlight reel moves. You know, Liam Elliott was unable to sort of finish the second game, but he had his best game of the tournament against Queen City in the morning. I thought the CROW fought hard, and I think they can hold their heads high as they exit the tournament.
And something I wanted to highlight there, Mo, for that one, the CROW, combining the playoffs and the Larry Bishop, actually have the 2 highest point getters, and they're not playing here on Sunday. That being Fodchuk with 21 goals and 17 assists through the Alberta playoffs, as well as Elliott with 11 goals and 14 assists. The future is certainly bright for the CROW Lacrosse Club. No,
certainly, and you know, Will Horn, as I touched on, he's only a second-year junior, so he's got 3 more years left. You know, they do lose Fodchuk and things like that, but you know, a healthier team maybe down the stretch will help them out next year as they continue to grow. Now, also finishing 4th were the Queen City Kings, as they came in or finished the tournament at 1-3, but they also were in every game. I mean, they go down to the Rebels, first game of the tournament, 11-10, had a couple of other close calls. They do edge out the CROW in overtime, and then go to overtime with the Shamrocks in a classic that you were able to call, Aiden. I think that's a team that's going to continue to be a threat out of the East.
And talking about that 11-10 loss to the Rebels, that's what I kind of have circled on my calendar, Mo, as maybe a pivotal turn. You see the Rebels sitting here on Sunday. 1 goal truly made the difference between which team was sitting here playing in this semifinal. So Rebels come out on top in that one. But the Queen City Kings took down the Rebels handedly towards the end of the regular season here at the JRC. So I think walking away from this one, I think that's when they're looking at as well, which was probably the gettable game that could have got them here today.
You know, absolutely, and they're another team that I think has a ton of offense. You talk about McDonald, Lenz, Keogh had a terrific tournament. Lots of promise there with the Kings.
And now moving into one of our semifinal teams today, that's the 3rd place ranked Rebels, who come into this contest 2-2, and Mo, they've kind of been fighting it all weekend long. I mean, they started off with that victory over Queen City, followed it up with kind of a harsh loss to the Shamrocks, who is their opponent today, and then grab another win over the CROW, that one establishing some confidence, but again, not able to finish it off in game number 4 for them yesterday. Why don't we talk about that final game? What did you see out of that one, Mo?
Yeah, you know, I thought that they were kind of preparing mentally and physically for today's game. You know, the Mavericks are always going to play at full speed. You know, I kind of equate it to driving in the fast lane and not just driving fast enough when the Mavericks car pulls up. They just run over you and run through you and fast break you to death. So I thought that they kept the pedal to the metal. The Rebels kind of pulled back a little bit, and if they are to meet again, it'll be a great matchup. Now, also finishing second in the final round robin standings were the Shamrocks, the Rebels' opponent today. And the Shamrocks were in a situation yesterday where they really needed that win against the Kings, pulled it out on that overtime, with that overtime marker. They've had really balanced scoring throughout. They're a team, their special teams are usually very good. Their penalty kill came up big in that Kings game. And I think today, if they can get something out of their power play, they're going to be really dangerous.
And the Shamrocks, to me, another team in this tournament that have kind of been up and down. If they're winning, but when they lost, they lost. It was that large deficit to the Mavericks, and a team they could be facing tomorrow with a victory today. Kind of, do you think that one's hanging in the back of the heads of the Shamrocks? Obviously, you don't want to get ahead of yourself, but even with a victory over the Rebels today, you have a date with a very tough destiny there in the Mavericks.
Yeah, I think in sports you have to move on. They're one-game sample sizes. They're really, not in the big picture. They're not everything. They're not really all that much to really take to heart. I mean, the Rebels, if they're thinking that, they're in trouble today, having lost to the Shamrocks by 5 in the round robin. So I don't think teams think like that. I think they're just worried about this game today.
And then finally moving into your number 1 seeded team that will not be playing today because they get the bye into the championship final tomorrow. Same start time, 2 p.m. It's the Mavericks. Mo, not much to talk there. They just outright been the best team all weekend long, establishing their speed game, which I think is the biggest part of how they play lacrosse. And it's really shown this weekend, being able to keep that up through 4 games in 2 days. The Mavericks going to be an impressive squad, and now getting a little bit of rest on Sunday, I think can be very dangerous come Monday.
Yeah, incredibly aggressive, incredibly balanced are the Mavericks, and there's really not one part of their game where you can pick out and go, okay, that's weak. Carter Michaluk has been an outstanding pickup from the Saskatchewan Junior A SWAT, falling down at the deadline, coming back after he spent last year with them, running the top of their power play. Alex Swan, as always, steady between the pipes, and that defense causes so many turnovers. Great team, the Mavericks.
Okay, well, Mo, let's move into a real deep dive here. This matchup, the Rebels and the Shamrocks, today's semi-final. We've mentioned it a couple times already, but it was that 14-9 Shamrocks win in the round robin that really felt like the Rebels were dominated. I mean, they were able to draw themselves within 5, but it was all Shamrocks all the way through it. And do you think we're going to see something like that again here today?
I really don't. I think that these two teams are going to trade punches. They have a history in the Larry Bishop, which we're going to get to in a second, but I expect a close game. I expect the strengths of these two teams to be on full display. I really like the Shamrocks special teams. I really like the Rebels transition game. Contrasting two styles again here, and I'm really looking forward to it.
So now talking about that 14-9 game, Mo, starting with the Shamrocks, they had one player that stuck out very much, and that was OJ for the Shamrocks. He did very well in that contest. 2 goals and 3 assists in that game. He's been great all weekend long, Mo. What's your thoughts on him as a player?
Just talked about Michaluk of the Mavericks. Michaluk of the Mavericks is, he's directed traffic and being their kind of ball control guy on the power play. That's what OJ does for the Shamrocks. He feeds, he can shoot from the outside, and on 5-on-5 he has the ability to get inside. Really strong player.
And then moving it over to the Rebels side, they had one player that stood out in a couple different ways. That was Nolan Eastwood for them. Eastwood in that game had 4 goals, 1 assist, a highlight reel that you could see on Jesse Ott Media's social media profile online, a little jump and a fake that he was able to beat Bjarnason. But anyway, total 4 goals, 1 assist, and then ends up getting kicked out of the game on a penalty technicality. Oh, what'd you see out of him this weekend?
You know what? He's such a scrappy player, and he's a lot like a Maverick in the sense that he never gives up on a play. He's always pressuring the ball. He can turn it over at any time. He's got a magnet in his stick, and when he gets chances, he finishes. So a very versatile player.
The Rebels have headed off the floor here in warm-ups. We're getting closer and closer to game time. But, Mo, there's a great history between these two teams in the Larry Bishop. Why don't you take us through it? What have the years brought us from these two squads?
So the Shamrocks hold a 4-1 lifetime record against the Rebels in the Larry Bishop. In 2018, they took a 9-5 victory. In 2019, it was a best-of-3 final, and the two teams met. And the Shamrocks would beat the Rebels 8-7 and then 18-17 before going on to the Founders and winning it all. They were the Junior B National Champions. 2024, so last season, the Rebels do get their victory over the Shamrocks, 11-10 in Airdrie, and then this year, of course, the round robin matchup where the Shamrocks were 14-9 victors.
And it's fair to mention the Shamrocks already have their ticket booked to the Founders once again this year, but again, want to come in as the team who actually got out of this tournament. And Mo, I mean, there's a couple more players to highlight from both these teams, both two high-powered offenses. And first I wanted to start with the Rebels. So coming from them, their leading scorer through the playoffs and here in the Larry Bishop, it's Reed Lowe. Take the fans at home through his performance.
You know, Reed Lowe, he dropped down at the deadline as well from the minors junior A program, and he's provided a real inside threat, a guy that's great around the crease, silky hands, and can bury the ball. And he's also a good passer too, so he's a dual threat out the front gate for the Rebels.
14 goals, 10 assists through the playoffs and the Larry Bishop so far for Lowe. That's a total of 24 points. But now switching to the other side of the floor, Mo, we got Riley Dowswell for the Shamrocks. 6 goals, 14 assists for a total of 20 points through his playoffs and the Larry Bishop so far. Tell the folks a little bit about him.
You know, he comes over at the deadline from Red Deer, very quick feet, great first step. He often draws his defender in and then he'll roll back out and hit a cutter. Can also nail the ball, nail corners from the outside. And he's a guy that has a very versatile game as well offensively, so he's a big pickup for the Shamrocks.
And another section I wanted to highlight here in this contest, Mo, it's a little bit of a rookie versus vet action here. Starting with the Rebels, it's not really the rookie. He played last year, but the young man, Dylan Pook, he's had himself a great tournament. I think he's been a highlight for the Rebels through the playoffs and here at the Larry Bishop. 18 years old, he has 9 goals and 5 assists so far in playoff action. What have you seen out of him? I mean, I personally think he's a sniper from the outside.
Yeah, he loves that low-to-low shot, those sidearm and underhand releases. He's very gritty too, but the ball goes loose. He's always one of the first to go after it, and very aggressive and tenacious in his play. So he's had a really good year for the Rebels.
And then moving on to the 21-year-old Lutweiler from the Shamrocks. 6 goals, 6 assists through the playoffs and the Larry Bishop for him. He's been a great depth guy for the Shamrocks. You have to watch for him. He can strike at any given moment. What do you think of him?
He's a big righty, uses his frame really well to box out defenders. He'll drive to the net, and he also has a heavy shot from the perimeter. He's a guy that they're going to look to. He does have some junior experience as well. I believe he played in Nanaimo last year, so he's got big game experience. They're going to need him to come up big here today.
So we're only a minute and 40 seconds out of the national anthems here in the semifinals at the Larry Bishop. Let's quickly highlight our starting goaltenders in this contest, Mo, starting with Carpenter for the Rebels.
Yeah, he comes in with a 79% save percentage in these playoffs and Larry Bishop provincials. He's a guy very athletic. He can quickly get across the crease, can make up for some mistakes by defenders and even in his positioning. So he didn't have his A game in the round robin. We'll see if he's able to bounce back, because if he does, that's going to be massive for the Rebels. Carpenter
starting 3 of 4 in the Larry Bishop here for the Rebels. Same for the man on the other side. It's Mizek for the Shamrocks. Started 3 of 4, has an .840 save percentage. Mo, how much of a difference maker has he been in this tournament?
Absolutely. You know, he's got a calm feet, big body. He also, though, can get his shoulders up pretty quickly, and he's good at getting to the corners of the net. He's not a guy that just relies on his size. So, you know, he has junior experience as well. I've talked about that being a big thing. He played extensively for the junior Mountaineers the last couple of years. He brings a calming presence to the Shamrocks lineup.
30 seconds out of the semifinal here between the Rebels and the Shamrocks at the Larry Bishop, hosted from Fort Saskatchewan, Alberta. It's going to be an interesting one. Injury troubles for the Rebels. A hot hand in their last matchup for the Shamrocks. You know Fort Saskatchewan wants this one. You know the Shamrocks want it. Winner's going to head to the finals tomorrow. Rebels entering the floor. Mo, any last notes for the folks at home?
Expect a fast game. Every big game of this tournament has had a lot of transition involved. I think the faster it is, the more it favors the Rebels. And I would say the more it's played on special teams, the more it favors the Shamrocks. It's 2 teams that have won before, especially the Shamrocks at the national level. It's 2 teams used to winning, and we're going to see a great matchup.
Rebels going to be wearing white, Shamrocks wearing green. It's the Shams who are the home team in this one. technically with the better record. It looks like they're going to set up on that away bench. Both teams going to have their last final talks only amongst the players. Mo, it's been an exciting weekend. It's been a grind for all of us here at CROW LAX TV. We're about to get into our national anthems here. Ladies and gentlemen, that's it for me, Aiden Bolsgaard. When we get back on CROW LAX, it's going to be Mo on color, Cody Jansen on play-by-play. Have a great time, and I'll talk to you again at the end of this first period. Until then, enjoy yourself some in-house announcements and the Canadian national anthem.
Good afternoon, lacrosse fans, and welcome to the Jubilee Recreation Center and for the 2025 Larry Bishop Memorial Cup semifinal game with the Calgary Shamrocks and your Noy Construction Rebels. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise, if you're able, and remove your caps for the playing of your national anthem.
Semifinal Sunday at the Jubilee Recreation Center in Fort Saskatchewan, Alberta. It is Cody Jansen, Mohammed Joma with you. Fort Saskatchewan Rebels, the host team in this tournament, taking on the Calgary Shamrocks, one of the perennial favorites for the Founders Cup, the Junior B National Championship. Winner of this game gets to take on the Mountain View Mavericks tomorrow for the Mem Cup. All right, Mo, we got some breaking news, so right before the anthems, what's going on?
Tyler Auger was announced out right before the game. He's unable to go, the Shamrocks' leading scorer from the regular season, and the guy that plays and mans the top of their power play out.
8 goals, 11 assists in the playoffs for OJ. He's unavailable. In comes affiliate forward Chase McCallum, righty. He's no slouch, though, as an affiliate. We've seen some real dang good youngsters. At the dot, though, Liam O'Dwyer, Calix Simonson. Ref is ready, ball is down, and we are underway on Sunday in Fort Saskatchewan. Off the draw, O'Dwyer whips one stick side on Bowen Carpenter. Here goes Jack Nickelback the other way. Track meet, a bit of the style Fort Saskatchewan tends to play. Their set offense hasn't exactly been ideal through this tournament, but it's got them to the semifinals. Reed Lowe whips this one over. Down the short side, trying to bounce it 5-hole. Chase Misick doesn't move for it, though. Long outlet pass, transition opportunity there. Kalen Snee has to slow it down. Talked to the coaching staff beforehand. A lot of high praise for 19 in green. Shamrocks offense now running this off the far side up top. Here's Blake Anderson, big righty. Slings it across, they'll slow it down. Seth Miller got knocked down. Back the other way in transition. Here goes the Rebels, they want to run. Badgema's back in the lineup. Badgema on the breakaway, stopped by Misick.
That's exactly what the Rebels need to play with, that intense, aggressive defensive play up high, creating turnovers.
Devin Badgema, again, can't believe he's playing. If people knew what he was going through right now, I think you'd be shocked in more ways than one. Here's Calix Simonson, Lincoln Memorial University product out of Tennessee. Up top, Reed Lowe, he'll sling it down. Nolan Eastwood, inside feed, Reed Lowe's all alone, and he stepped in the crease.
The Rebels definitely did not like that call. I don't blame them.
They got to get back on defense. They'll reverse transition. Cale Owen Carpenter now out to help out as Jack Nichols scoops it up, and here goes the Lakeland product. Big, lengthy body, Jack Nichols. I look at the frame and I think of a player like Miller Scrimshaw, right? One of those big bodies, loves to have the ball in his stick and just controls it when he has it. Reed low now, got his goal called off earlier. Eastwood, spin move, double spin, outside look, and Misik's got it in the pants.
You mentioned Nickel in his frame. He's kind of like a defensive version of a guy like Josh McCallion, former Rebel, lanky, has a lot of reach and can handle the ball.
The Stallion. Those are some good days. Josh McCallion, Eric George now playing for the Senior B Rebels. Ashton Johnson up the floor. Got the boot from last night's game against the Mountain View Mavericks. He'll hand it off for Simonson. Simonson, 6 goals, 9 assists in the playoffs. Feed goes over to Ryland Connors. Connors now spins back, won't shoot this. Little pump fake, trying to go short side again on Misik, hit him right in the hand.
Yeah, you were talking about their round robin game, and their shooting was a bit off, hitting the goaltender right in the chest, in the stick. A little bit of that so far from the Rebels, minus the goal that was called off.
Bruce Bjarnason was the goaltender for the Shamrocks in that matchup. Misik, the Lethbridge product, comes in for this game. Here's Soren Nygren, ball got knocked out of his stick. Rebound still falls free though, and the shot by Dow as well, whipped wide. Transition opportunity, they'll run it. Micah Thiessen trying to go low on Misik. He got it right with that foot.
You know, Sherwood Park is the next community over in a lot of ways, and the Rebels have quite a few players from there. Thiessen being one of them, Reed Lowe being another. I know Despins has played his minor there, even though he's from Beaumont, so connection there with Sherwood Park.
Yeah, no more Sherwood Park Outlaws in the Junior B circuit, though. They're now down in Beaumont, if you're not familiar with that. Hudson Scrimshaw, brother of Miller Scrimshaw, out to defend. Ball comes up to the top. Barron Singh whips this one. They're trying to go stick side again on Bowen Carpenter. I think all 4 of their attempts have tried to go stick side. They are the home team in this game, despite being on the visitor bench. That's why they're wearing their green threads. Simonson, blue kicks, walks it up, lefty forward inside feed, trying to hit Jackson Baker. It's over his head.
Just that Sherwood Park theme again. Jackson Baker, another Titan alumni. Nolan Eastwood, Sherwood Park. Bowen Carpenter, starting goaltender, Sherwood Park. So heavy contingent of Sherwood Park kids on this Fort team.
Ashton Johnson now beat by Dowswell. Dowswell, 14 assists in the playoffs for the Shamrocks. What a pickup out of the Red Deer. Say inside feed, trying to hit Nygren. Ball comes back up top. Little spin there by Kalinic. His shot got soaked.
Rebels defense playing, as you would expect, much more aggressively, much more intense lacrosse here than what you saw last night against the Mavericks.
Transition opportunity here. Reese Walsh welcomes himself into the game with that shot. Here's Ryland Connors. Decides not to shoot it. Great defense by Liam O'Dwyer there. Connors again. This shot got deflected. Another good stick by Ben McLean, captain of this team. He's a two-way player. He's got the green light to stay and play whenever he wants also. Kalen Sneed, though. Another loose ball for him. That's probably 4 already through the opening 5 minutes. Badgema out to defend. Ball got flipped through. It'll get scooped by Seth Miller in the corner. McLean backdoor feed. Oh my goodness. Aquaman, are you kidding me? Bowen Carpenter with a massive save for his second of the game. Another opportunity. This one, not sure Carpenter got a piece of it. Bounces, it's over and back.
I couldn't quite tell if Carpenter got his stick on that or if that hit the crossbar, maybe a bit of both, as that was an excellent athletic effort nonetheless by Carpenter.
Kalix Simonson. Little toe drag around the defender, trying to avoid the crease, so run it behind the net. Jackson Baker from reach ends up putting that one right in the belly of Misik. Now in transition, Reed Lowe got tangled up behind the play. Jet DePaiva. I think DePaiva's been one of the best, if not the best defender in this tournament single-handedly. I know Mountain View really gets it done by committee, and they've got some great players, but I've really been impressed by 9 and Green so far this weekend. Reed Lowe has it now, short side shot. Ends up going wide. Dylan Pook out of the corner. Local hockey player on the Junior B side as well as lacrosse. This ball's gonna bounce, stay in play though. Connors has it. 5 to shoot. Probably not necessary to whip that one. Comes back to Simonson, though. Almost worked as a pass. Eastwood can't scoop the rebound. Neither can Simonson. In transition, Shamrocks now have numbers. Soren Nygren's off the bench. It's a 2-on-1. Bowen Carpenter at the right knee makes a save. Rebound for Downswell. He overruns it. Picked up top. Inside feed for Nygren got knocked down. And it's grabbed by Walsh.
Really like what I'm seeing from Carpenter so far. Nice bounce back early for him in this elimination game.
You need that from your goaltender. Biggest stage, that's where all the pressure lies. Shamrocks offense will get set again here. Far side of the floor, little spin move. Carpenter's got it with the left pad. Rebounds free game, though that's dangerous. Seth Miller whiffs on the shot. Got picked up for a second. Here goes Reese Walsh back the other way.
Walsh is a guy who's had a tremendous season for the Rebels.
Deals it back wisely. Hands up for Dylan Pook. Rylan Connors now. He played 7 minutes, still scoreless. Save made by Misek. Ball in the corner, scooped up by Nolan Highcamp.
Talk about the guys that can get the ball up the floor. The Shamrocks have plenty of them in McLean and Snee and guys like that. Those are the key players on your team.
Ashton Johnson defends inside feed, hits Soren Nygren. 2 goals in the playoffs for him. One of those players who maybe you don't see on the score sheet, but he's one of the more effective forwards on this team. As an opening goal comes off the stick of Nick Lutweiler. Top shelf, it's 1-0 Shamrocks.
Yeah, high to high release there by Lutweiler. He gets a lot of leverage behind that shot. He's got a lanky frame, and a lot of times those guys can gain more power on their shot, and he uses his reach to go up and over top of Carpenter there.
Well, Lutweiler caught his D-man jumping as well, was able to walk past him and put this one to the twine. O'Dwyer looking for another backdoor feed. Carpenter makes a save, rebound. Not sure Ferrati knew Carpenter was down on that one. Cutting through the crease is Lutweiler. It'll be Rebels ball.
Yeah, Ferrati, another one of those guys that is so effective in transitioning the ball up the floor. He's got a great handle and very good feet. So if he gets pressured, it doesn't really affect his play or his confidence level.
Bowen Carpenter getting a little bit of a helmet check here, making sure that all the buckles are still all right.
Yeah, so if I'm the Rebels right now, they've gotten some decent looks, maybe a few too many perimeter looks for my liking at this point, but their shooting really needs to dial in. It's just too midsection based right now.
Jolivet for low, one-arm feed. Eastwood's there. He tried to quick stick it. Jackson Baker has to get back. Baker throws this one behind Jolivet. Hard pick set by Reed Lowe. Jolivet now 10 on the shot clock. Takes the cycle, whips it in the corner. Dylan Pook's got it, but Jolivet, so they're going to say Pook went through the crease.
Yeah, I thought they were going to give the Rebels the ball there for that push on Jolivet, but apparently not.
Refs say go north. Blake Anderson, far side of the floor. Matthew Vetch is on him. Captain knocks the ball out of his stick. It's still there. Dowswell's battling. Ben Reno missed some time. He's not playing at 100% either. I'll tell you that for free. Reno goes for a run. His brother Jack was a mainstay in the Tier 1 circuit, especially in that North Division. Reno, little fake for Calix Simonson, flips it for Reed Lowe. Scored earlier, but it got waved off as he had stepped in the crease. Connors up top. Simonson pushed back. Shamrock's doing a good job of keeping the Rebels out of the middle, and right there, Misek's going to scoop it up in the crease.
Good defense there by O'Dwyer to cut Connors off before he could cross his face into the middle.
Kalen Snee ends for Lutweiler, lone goal scorer in this contest. Played 9 minutes. Got around his defender and nickel. Ball grabbed by Riley Longmire. Longmire, 1 goal yesterday in round robin play. Another junior B veteran. Plenty of speed out there in transition. Simonson, brother of Sebastian Simonson. Edmonton Warriors, great. Rylan Connors, little toe drag, trying to get to the middle. Connors inside, save made by Misek.
Again, there it's just a little too towards the middle third of the net.
Got to be hitting pipes. Crease dive attempt there. Save made by Carpenter. Opportunity, Dowswell to the corner. Doesn't put something on goal. Say, trying to get around Vetch. Knocked off the ball. Up top, Kalinic has to fire. Carpenter makes a save. He scoops the rebound as well.
Yeah, both defenses right now locking off the middle of the floor. A lot of shots coming in at late in the shot clock and from bad angles or distance.
Halfway through period number 1, and the Calgary Shamrocks lead in this Larry Bishop Memorial Cup semifinal. 1-0 thanks to a goal from Nick Lutweiler. Jolivet now trying to pull it short side. Music makes the save. As you said, if you want to be a perimeter shooting team, you got to be hitting pipe in. And right now, Fort Saskatchewan does not have their sights set perfectly. Ben McLean, captain of this Shamrocks squad. Now their veteran lifer for the Shamrocks. Purple shoes, he's pretty easy to identify on the floor. Nygren kicks it down. He'll set a pick. We'll see if the pop comes. There it was. It was just behind him.
That was a really good look. Just executed, just didn't quite execute it.
Hudson Scrimshaw, wearing his brother's 44. Scrimshaw plays junior hockey out in the KIJHL. Calix Simonson now. Dylan Pook comes in. Eastwood getting into it with DePaiva in front of the net. Opens up space for Connors, though, and Connors can't get a shot. Right there, that's a veteran defender on a rookie just flexing their muscles.
Yeah, a little bit too individualistic right now. It's very hard to drive the net on your own. The Rebels got to get the ball swinging across the floor and pull the Shamrocks out so that middle of the floor gets becomes available.
Riley Downswell looking for a backhand flip. Has a man up top, and Ferrati. That's who he finds. Ferrati defended by Brown, trying to pull it short side. Kick saved by Bowen Carpenter. Left toe, maybe a little bit awkward. Rebound ends up in the corner, though. Ben Reynaud's going to have to run. Carpenter gets away with the trip there on Seth Miller.
Yeah, that was very, very borderline, and lucky for the Rebels that wasn't called.
Jackson Baker down to Calix Simonson. Simonson up top for Jolivet. Jolivet cuts to the middle, lets it go, and again, trying to go stick side on Chase Misek isn't working. We saw Queen City beat him under the glove multiple times yesterday. Ben McLean in transition. Far side look. This one's going to bounce over. Matthew Vetch knocks it down, and he'll have some time in front of the penalty box.
As a coach, I've done it myself, and I know a lot of other coaches say the same thing. 5 holes, not a good shot, and there's a lot of 5-hole attempts.
Not in the summer.
Nah, yeah, true. NLL is a little different.
Pass over. Here's Dylan Pook. Jackson Baker trying to get in to set the pick. Ends up leaving Pook to go 1-on-2. Pass over to Nolan Eastwood. Easton bobbles it twice. 4 on the shot clock. Has it. Let that go. It goes off the leg of a defender. If that goes out of play, just after the shot clock. If that would have gone out of play when the shot clock was going, that would have been a Rebels reset. But now we're at a water break with 7:12 left to go in the first. Calgary up 1-0. Mo, what's your thoughts?
You know what? I think that the pace of this game is probably favors the Rebels right now. It's very kind of hit and miss, helter-skelter, all up and down the floor, and a bit wild and scrambly. And I think that does favor the Rebels. But you know, their shooting just like I know that you talked about it on the round robin game. Both on air and off air, their shooting was just not on, and it's kind of been the same story here through the first 10 minutes. And the Shamrock side of things, I think that they're, from an offensive standpoint, they're probably settling for too many perimeter looks as well, although they've had a few more dangerous shots. They're hitting corners a little bit more than what the Rebels are right now.
Lutweiler has their lone goal. Dowswell and the AP Chase McCallum have the assists. They'll have the ball and they'll run it back from their own zone. Riley Dowswell with it. Now up to 21 points in the playoffs. Up there for leaders. And mind you, they didn't even have a first round bye. They didn't even play an extra couple of games in that opening round down south.
I was kind of upset that the Shamrocks didn't elect as the home team to wear their whites. I like those jerseys.
Well, the Rebels have switched it up. They wore their new black jerseys for their first 4 games. Almost feels like a throwback going to the whites. I haven't seen them wear it in days, and it feels like years at this point. Shamrocks offense on the floor. Perfect cut inside there, and Aaron Say got stopped. He's got 12 goals in the playoffs, and Bowen Carpenter denies him of that one. Rebels defense falling apart.
That was a great save by Carpenter to stay high, tight to the crossbar and not allow that ball to go up over top of him.
Dowswell to the corner for Lutweiler. Inside again, Say has it. Carpenter makes the save.
So if you're the Rebels right now, you're getting what you didn't get in the round robin. It's just great goaltending from Carpenter. Your offense has to get clicking and has to start doing something to open up the middle.
Ben Reynaud now looking for outlet. He's got Ashton Johnson up there. Only 10 seconds left for this Rebels offense to work with. Pretty much has to stay in play at this point. Simonson finds Connors. Connors has to go quick, and he ran himself right into O'Dwyer. That's one of those plays where, as a rookie, you got to realize who you're up against one-on-one.
You see it a lot with the young players, and this applies to every player, but you see it a lot with younger players. You have to move the ball and work off of it. You can't expect to beat any defender worth their salt just one-on-one like that.
Not in this tournament especially.
Yeah.
You know, Junior B, you can probably get away with it with some teams. This is the best teams in Western Canada almost. That's excluding British Columbia.
Yeah, and you gotta make that defender turn his head and go.
Jack Nickel wisely decides to pull up there. The righty on the right side of the floor, not a great angle, especially not against a big goaltender like Chase Misick. Here's Calix Simonson. Little bounce down low, pass over to Jolivet, got the quick stick off, but he missed the mark.
See, that's better. There's a hard off-ball cut. Right before that, Reed Lowe flashed in. He was open. He wanted the ball. He was upset he didn't get it. That's a better look and a better set for the Rebels.
The righties are moving. The lefties might have to get moving the boots a little bit more here. 3/4 of the way through the opening frame. Calgary up 1-0. Look cut back. Aaron Saint. Hands away. Kalinic. Kalinic now right down the highway. Save made by Bowen Carpenter, but again, that's a grade A scoring chance in the slot.
Yeah, he got right up over top of his defender. I believe that was Scrimshaw, and his hips were open to the middle, and he took advantage of it, and Bowen was there. Mr. Carpenter was there to make the save.
Rebels give it away, so the Shamrocks get a run once again. 4:30 left to go in the period. Righties are going to work. It's Blake Anderson, big wind up. Trying to work his way inside. He's pushed back by Johnson. Saint. Kalinic. Got around Nickel. Kick save again by Bowen Carpenter. Teague Brown scoops up the loose ball. Brown, player of the game last night for Fort Saskatchewan. He scored against Mountain View.
Good work there. He was kind of doubled, and he used his strength and his frame to be able to get that ball up the floor.
Connors above the restraining line. Has to move the ball. He finds Lowe. It's Eastwood. Lowe trying to cut to the middle. Eastwood shot goes off of a defender. Trying to shoot through traffic there. If it goes through, it could be a good opportunity. If not, you could be in big trouble. Rebels throwing away some passes here. Now it's over to Pook. Low to low. Good kick saved by Chase Misick.
That's where your execution needs to be on point. Eastwood wide open in the middle off the turnover, and they throw it about 5-6 feet behind him.
Gavin Ferrani. Lefty forward, great athlete, kicks it out to Luke Weiland. On the roll, how he scored earlier. This one got soaked by Longmire.
There are opportunities for the Rebels to break here and get some 2-on-1s and breakaways. Badgema was in behind everybody, but it just took too long for them to grab the loose ball.
Here's Badgema thinking about cutting towards the net. Now he finds Reed Lowe. Reed Lowe around the screen. That's a better look, and that's a great save by Chase Misick.
Yeah, it's very tough for a goaltender to pick up the ball when you shoot it around the defender's legs like Lowe just did.
And he placed it well, too.
Yeah.
Right? If not for the Shamrocks netminder, that's got a chance to find a corner. Aaron Saint, 16 points in the playoffs for him. Inside cut from Miller, took a big hit. Shot clock reset. I thought the refs were calling a penalty for a second, but Shamrock just cut through the crease. That'll be Rebels' possession.
Yeah, no, that was a clean hit. I would have been shocked. Yeah, but
I was shocked as well. I was waiting for the reset signal, and he hadn't given it, but his hand was still in the air for a couple of seconds.
Yeah, you see that sometimes. I always get caught on that too, thinking, what? Is he really calling a penalty there? But no, it was just a reset.
Nolan Eastwood, Junior A hockey player for the Fort McMurray Oil Barons. Spins around to Paiva right to the middle. Eastwood, 5-hole attempt, whips it wide. Rylan Connors now has to be careful. Knock the stick over. That'll be back here. Got away with a bit of a hold there at first, and then it works out in his favor. Rebels have to get 5 forwards out there, though. Real slow change here. At least they had a full 30 clock to work with. You'll see them running 6 or 7 forwards all game, so their forwards going to be playing big minutes as Sunday legs on. It's their 5th game in about 60 hours. Calix Simonson stripped of the ball. Back the other way, Highcamp's got a partial break. Nolan Highcamp, Vetch is on his tail. Highcamp fires. That one ends up in the netting and in row 3.
Yeah, you know, again, on that last set from the Rebels, the ball was held by Simonson just way too long. It's really hard to get into a rhythm if you're an offensive guy that way, and the Rebels need more from their front gate.
Got to be moving your feet as well. A little bit stagnant at times. Jolivet over to Pook. Pook's pass is behind Connors, and it's another break. It's Kalen Snee on a breakaway. Kalen Snee alone. The righty converts. Transition tuck for Kalen Snee. It's 2-0 Shamrocks.
The former Junior A Mountaineer goes all the way down all alone and goes about a hip high on Carpenter. Snee had a very good round robin. He's provided offense out of the back gate for the Shamrocks, and in a semifinal elimination game, he comes up big for them.
Shamrocks coach is very high on Kalen Snee, saying he's the spark we needed this year, especially with them hosting Founders in a few weeks. Here's Liam O'Dwyer, another 3-on-2. Huge save by Carpenter. O'Dwyer up top. Ferrati won't let it fly. Ben McLean, see if they want 2 here. Low shot, Lutweiler, save made by Carpenter. They'll scoop it. There's about a 6-second differential with the shot clock and the game clock. Rebels only have a couple seconds to get it over. Very close to an 8-second count, and they end up throwing it away. Timeout called by the Shamrocks.
Yeah, very unfortunate sequence there for the Rebels. As you know, you just have gone down 2-0. You would have liked to have last possession here and try to go 6-on-5 and try to grab some of the momentum back right away. Now you're going to have to defend, and these last possessions of periods, if you get scored on, they can be very demoralizing. So extremely important set on defense here for the Rebels.
Well, Calgary has 2 goals. One of them's come out of Lutweiler's stick, the other from Kalen Snee. And barring any crazy changes, I don't think Snee is going to be a repeat offender here this period. He'll go 6-on-5. And you got to think that they want to get a hot stick like Aaron Say going again. Because when he is on his game and he's picking corners, he's the guy who can give you 4 or 5 a night.
He's been terrific in this tournament. I think he's probably elevated. I mean, I don't get to see a lot of Shamrocks in the regular season, but seems like he's a guy that's really elevated in this tournament and in the playoffs for them. And I've also been really impressed with another lefty in Nygren on that left side, and you're going to see him out on the floor on this 6-on-5.
He's a workhorse.
Yeah.
He does exactly what they need, right? It's something the Rebels got to get doing here, is getting someone moving around, setting picks, causing a little bit of havoc. That's what Soren Nygren does awesome.
So the one thing you're going to see here is the Shamrocks do have to travel the floor, so Bajma's going to pressure.
Here are the Rebels. You want them to put the ball in the air, and that's what they did. But now they'll slow it down as Dowswell goes to the corner. So now they'll set it up, but for the Rebels, that's a success, as he did cause a little bit of chaos. Now you get set, 10 to shoot. They'll run the play in a couple of seconds here. Shamrocks up by 2. It's semifinal Sunday at the Larry Bishop. Miller. Feed goes a little high. I know Lutweiler's tall. He's not that tall. A rolling shot's going to miss the empty net. And that's how we're going to finish period number 1. 20 down, 40 to go. Fort Saskatchewan yet to put one over the goal line. They trail 2-0. I'm going to step aside here. We'll let Aiden Bullsgard and Mo Joma tell you about that period.
Aiden Bullsgard coming at you now after that opening first period. Mo, wow, a lot of speed out there between these two teams, back and forth action. It's the Shamrocks who end up with the better of it, though, a 2-0 lead headed into this first intermission. Mo, I feel like this one could have been different. The Rebs have that first goal in the game, get called off on the crease violation. That one came out of the stick of Reed Lowe. It felt like they had all the power, all the momentum. And then after that, the Shamrocks come back with a goal of their own. That went out of the stick, out of a player we highlighted earlier in this game, Nick Lutweiler. What'd you think of that first?
You know what? I thought, and I said this during the broadcast during the first period, that I thought the pace favored the Rebels. Lots of back and forth. You saw 2-on-1s and breakaways taking place early on. And I thought that the Rebels' offense sort of let them down in the period. They just weren't moving their feet, weren't moving the ball. Made it easy for the Shamrocks to defend. As a defender, when a guy's holding on to it, you can just clamp on them. You're not really worried about somebody coming to set a pick. You're not worried about guys off-ball cutting on you. And you can just kind of take time and space away. So the Rebels got to make it easier on themselves. They got to get the ball moving, and the lefts in particular have to start cutting the middle.
The defensive end of the floor was something I was watching for the Rebels. I thought they did a great job in that first period. Defensively, probably their most aggressive game of this weekend by all means. And I mean, a player like Davin Bajma back in the lineup and instantly involving himself in the first 2 minutes of this game, laying a big hit, getting the ball down the floor out of his own zone. It's that aggression that the Rebels have been lacking this weekend that has them at this 2-2 record and here in the semifinal. But I think that a bright spot for sure in that first period. I do agree with you, Mo, though. They need more movement coming on the offensive end. The Shamrocks aren't going to make it easy for you, so you got to create your own opportunities. Is there anything else headed into this intermission before we go to commercial that you want to let the folks at home know about these two sides?
It doesn't look like a lot of penalties are going to be taking place in this game, so what that means, it's even more important for the Rebels to start getting some rhythm on their 5-on-5 sets. I feel like some of their younger guys are maybe feeling the moment a little bit too much pressure, and they need to make it, like I said a little bit earlier, just easier on themselves, work together, and try to free each other up into the middle.
You're tuned in on CROW LAX TV for the semifinals of the Larry Bishop between the home side Shamrocks from Calgary and the visiting Rebels in their own rink from Fort Saskatchewan. My name's Aiden Bolsgard. Mojoma helping me out for your intermission show. We'll be back a couple minutes before the middle frame where the Rebels will look to get back in this one as they trail 2-0 to the Shamrocks. Until that point, you're listening on CROW LAX TV. Don't get too far. Guard, Mo Joma here live on CROW LAX TV. We're only 2 minutes away from the second period between the visiting Fort Saskatchewan Rebels and the home side Calgary Shamrocks. Mo, it was a great 20 minutes. We just spoke about it, but let's dive a little bit into the contributors in that first period. Obviously, only the Shamrocks getting on the board. The opening goal coming from Nick Lutweiler. Again, one of those veteran guys we were talking about earlier. What have you liked about his game so far in this one?
Really, he has not been hesitant to shoot at all. He's a guy that can get, like I said during live play, can get a lot of leverage on his shot. He ripped one into the top corner, and he hasn't been shy to shoot, which some guys can be in these big games.
And guys getting assists on that goal, Chase McCallum, joined by Riley Dowswell. Dowswell, the leading scorer for the Shamrocks, coming into the Larry Bishop through the playoffs and continuing that pace here in the Larry Bishop, of course, all the way into our semifinal Sunday here as well. And then the breakaway goal converted on from Kalen Snee, a good pickoff in his own zone and a great run down to the offensive zone and no lack of finish in that stick. What'd you like out of that play from him?
Yeah, terrific anticipation. He's a guy that kind of reads the play and is able to jump it, whether it's a loose ball that's about to take place or what you saw there, jumping a pass and catching it in midair and keeping his momentum up the floor and breaking away from everyone else. So good finish too. He's been a guy that's shown he can score on breakaways.
So the asterisks coming out of that first period. For Fort Saskatchewan, it's Lowe who has the goal called off. That would have opened the scoring in this game. Just too tight to the crease on that one. But I want to highlight 0-0. Bowen Carpenter, who makes an absolutely massive save. This game could be 3-0 right now if he doesn't slide across the net, throw the elbow up, and rob his man on the short side attempt. We're just about to get underway to the face-off again. My name's been Aiden Bolsgaard. Cody Jansen's about to hop on the call here again. Mo, I thank you again for getting on in this intermission with me. Let's get back to some lacrosse action. You'll hear from me following this second period.
All right, getting set for period number 2 inside the Jubilee Recreation Center. It's Cody Jansen, Mo Joma, Aiden Bolsgaard with you this afternoon. Semifinal Sunday. Shamrocks going right to left on your TV screen, wearing their home green threads. Inside feed, Ben McLean was given a gift 15 seconds in and unable to convert. Ball in the corner, it'll be scooped up by Ryland Connors behind the cage.
It's important in these first 5 minutes. The Rebels have to get some rhythm, some flow offensively here. You know, you get down 4 or 5-0 in this type of game. It's twice the hill that it usually is.
Dylan Pook kicks it over to Reed Lowe. Lowe now, little flip, has Eastwood in tight, trying to go 5-hole. Music makes the save easily.
Yeah, another 5-hole shot, and I know that was a bit of a tougher angle for him, and he was just trying to get it on the net, but still, it's got to be closer to the pipes.
Yeah, I don't hate that look in tight, but
yeah.
you know, just the way things have been going for the Rebels, they're going to have to start changing up the shot trajectory. Riley Dowswell, one of the more skilled players in the junior beast circuit. Dowswell, inside feed. Anderson doesn't shoot it. One arm flip up high to Seth Miller. Dangerous pass. Bajma knocked it down. Here goes Bajma up the floor. He's got Matthew Vetch. Vetch now couldn't handle the pass cleanly. That's the fatigue. This is 5 games in 48 hours for the Rebels. Suck goes wide from Jackson Baker. Bajma has it again. Has the green light to stay in play if he wants, but this is an extended shift for him. Dylan Pook around a screen. Great kick by Chase Music. Reading the ball awesome today.
It's really too bad that pass wasn't able to be brought in by Vetch, because that was terrific work by Bajma to go balls to the wall, literally to that end, to those far boards, and grab it and headman it up.
Here's Lutweiler. Opened the scoring in the first period. Lutweiler spins back. Looking for some help. It's up top for Say. Inside, McLean getting another shift of offense. Save made by Carpenter, and now Reese Walsh is going to send this one back into Shamrock's territory. We'll take a little bit of a run at Misek there. The gamesmanship continues. Johnson turns on the wheels. Now he cuts down on Longmire. Johnson inside, scores. Well, they'll wave off the penalty. They say he didn't step in the crease. Eric Johnson makes it 3-0.
Yeah, that sort of developed out of nowhere. Johnson realizes that his defender kind of maybe opened up a little bit too much and allowed him to go underneath him to the net and somehow evades the top of the crease. I thought they might call that off, but they say no, and it's a good goal.
Yeah, there were some close ones. They called off a Reed Lowe goal very similar to that earlier on. Refs are right and tight there. They got the best view in the house, and they say he didn't touch the crease. Rebels still going with 2 old guys off the face-off. Backdoor feed, they score. That's why it'll burn you. Tic-tac-toe. Nick Blueweiler has his second of the game.
That's where it helps to be as tall as you are, or as Blueweiler is. That ball, that pass was a little bit in behind him, but he was able to reach back and fire it, quick stick it into the net. Great transition look off the draw there. And O'Dwyer's he's showing his value there. He's been dominant on faceoffs all tournament long, and he's been that way for them the last few seasons.
I mean, he's basically a second captain for this team as well. He's one of the most vocal guys on that bench. And if not for McLean, I'd say he's probably their second biggest leader. Johnson hands off for Connors. Rebels still have a goose egg on their side of the scoreboard. Connors trying to find Lowe. Misek punched it right back out to him. Little flip behind Jolivet. Now he's in a foot race with McLean. Jolivet got back there. Ben Reynaud trying to get his will as Ryland Patterson was up the floor. Patterson, one of their youngsters, flying in transition. Rebels going the other way again. Reed Lowe will slow it down. Righty forward out of Chowan University. Jolivet for Simonson. Simonson trying to toe drag his way out of trouble. Ends up behind the cage. Rolls this for Jolivet. Big wind up. Put it right in the midsection of Misek though.
And that's why it's so unfortunate. You know, Lowe had that one right in its stick to go to the net. Vetch had one. Right now, it's just about executing for the Rebels. It's been tough for them to get inside. So on these transition looks and on these pick and rolls, they got to bring the ball in.
Connors, little fake for Eastwood. He stays out of the crease, though he's still an active forward right now. Connors finds Pook. Pook trying to shoot around a screen yet again. They might be seeing a hole in the logo or something because they keep trying to hit it. Eastwood causing a little bit of chaos there. Johnston throws a kick out. You got to be careful with that or they could give you a call for it, but instead they'll just give the Rebels possession. Now a hard pick got set, and again, the Rebels have to keep their cool if they want to stay in this one.
Yeah, you know, it's 4-0. We're approaching the 5-minute mark of the second period. You get a couple in a row, suddenly it's a totally different game. The Rebels have to keep that in mind.
Tag Brown has a man up the floor. Pass finds Bajma. Bajma partial break. Trying to go glove side. Save made by Misek.
Bajma's just been all over it in this game.
And a massive hit. Devin Bajma lowers the boom. Rebels faithfuls on their feet. He's brought some life back in this place. Matthew Vench, 5 minutes into the second period. We'll see how the offense responds. Jolivet with Reed Lowe on that right side. Finds Simonson. Simonson backdoor. Lowe's robbed by Misek. What a stop by the Shamrocks netminder. Eastwood low to low scores. There's the response Fort Sask was looking for.
Give that goal, or at least an assist, to Davin Bajma. What a hit on the boards. He's willing the Rebels into this game right now, like truly willing them into this game all over the floor. I just mentioned it right before that hit that he throws on the boards. They get possession back, and then Eastwood loves that shot, low to low, far side. They finally hit a corner, and guess what? They're on the board.
Eastwood had 4-goal game earlier in the tournaments. If he keeps his head in it, he can be one of the more effective shooters out on the floor. O'Dwyer, another face-off win, but that's what's going 3 back does, is O'Dwyer has to snap it back, and you're not giving up a 3-on-2, but the 4-on-3, they make him pay. It's Gavin Ferrati. Rebels get caught standing flat-footed.
Yeah, that is a demoralizing goal to give up. Ferrati, a guy with a great first step, and you know, you watch him in warm-up, he can rip the ball, and it doesn't take much for him to get a lot of power behind it. It's got a lot of precision on it as well, and he goes top corner, far side, without much of a wind-up or without much of a tell on his shot, and Carpenter is unable to get over there.
Wasn't a defender within 3 meters of his personal space either. Little spin back by Kalen Snee. Snee now snaps it across. Lutweiler's on hat-trick watch. One hand flip back. McLean knocked off the ball by Thiessen. Little spin by Despins, ends up losing the ball though. Shamrocks have it up top. Lutweiler. Backtrack on to Ashton Johnson. Coming through the Mills, Blake Anderson. Causes the Rebels defense to move around. Ryland Connors forces a turnover. Connors is going to run this up the floor now. They can get a 3-on-2. Baker's back door. Connors doesn't see him though. He runs himself right into a defender. Kalinic. As Connors spins back into trouble. As Baker open way up top and he decides to throw it high. Can't get caught with tunnel vision in a game like this. The stakes are too big. Here's Eastwood. Hard pick set by Connors. And it's going to go back the other way.
Yeah, no, you can't have that. I mean, you have to have your vision up the floor. You can't be running into defenders blindly, and then, you know, you have that turnover there on the pick.
Up top for Anderson. Ball bounces to Dowswell. Longmire was in there too. It ends up on the turf for a second. Now it's going to be grabbed by Reynaud. Up the floor is Jack Nickel. Nickel's got a break. Low to low, and it hits the pipe.
That was a great shot by Nickel, and it's very unfortunate that didn't go in. That was right in the bottom corner.
Credit the save to the red pipe as Ferrati wires that one. Could hear that from up here as that connects with Bowen Carpenter's right path. Ferrati again. Scrimshaw defense. Good pick set by Miller. Backdoor feed. It's Lutweiler for the hat trick. Carpenter says no. Dowswell had the defense running for a while. Now they're able to get set up once again. This Shamrocks offense, when they're clicking, is dangerous as they come in the Tier 1 circuit. Hudson Scrimshaw has a pick set on him. Ferrati again. Finds Lutweiler. Lutweiler defended by Brown. Fadeaway low to low. That's a Curtis Dixon special. Except this one doesn't connect with Twine.
So right now we're approaching the middle frame, or the middle part of the middle frame, and you know that it's 4. So you usually want to keep a game within striking distance. That means a 1 to 4 goal deficit. If this extends any further, it's going to be tough. Next goal, huge.
Simonson puts it right in the big Woody of Misick. Up the floor, Eric Johnston already has one this afternoon. Matthew Vetch strips him of the ball. Vetch probably has about 5 caused turnovers in this game alone here. Not to make a Ryan Dilks comparison, but I know he grew up watching him, and it's one of the players he liked watching in the National League, and Matthew Vetch has got it figured out. When he goes to one hand on his stick, it's not for long. He plays two-hand tough when needed and one-hand tough when he wants to cause that turnover. Now it's an inside feed. Shamrocks all alone. Carpenter makes the save. Rebound got scooped up by Satho. Hard pick now set in the corner. Longmire not too happy about it. Chase McCallum throwing his weight around. Not a small affiliate out there.
So if I'm the Rebels, especially in the second period, I know we're already almost halfway through it. I'm telling my D guys to maybe cheat a little bit up the floor and get off so I can send guys out this front gate, because you're not generating much in the 5-on-5.
Eastwood. Back over to Pook, rips that one off the defender. It's coming back to Dylan Pook as Reynaud gets off the bench. 2 to shoot, he just dumps this one down in the corner.
I mean, even though the shots right now are relatively, they're pretty much dead even, it really does not feel that way right now. That, again, not to harp on it, but they're just not getting those inside looks at all.
Lutweiler Cross to Miller. Low to low. That got soaked by Teague Brown. Miller's on the ball, and they'll say it's Rebels possession. Vetch finds Johnson. Johnson leaves way for Reed Lowe. They're gonna need a few out of Reed Lowe if they want to get back in this one. This time it's kicked to the corner by Misek.
Great
Joe Vet has it. Low again, low fade away, and Misek read him like a book. Knew exactly where he wanted to go. High pass over the head of McLean. Despens avoids the crease.
That was a great loose ball by Joe Levette over on that far side. It came out really quick, and he was able to get it to Lowe, who was wide open.
Connors now, spin move, cutting in front of the crease, still hangs on to it, took a slash up top, but he fires that one right into the midsection of the Shamrocks netminder. Fort Saskatchewan going to the power play with 9:50 left to go in period number 2, and they'll give the goalies a water break. Not sure the Shamrocks are exactly thrilled about it, as this gives the Rebels some time to rest before their power play.
Yeah, and I believe this is the first power play of the game. I
Yes.
don't recall. So, I mean, now we're in a period of the game where you need an answer. You need somebody on your offensive front gate to step up, and it's not even really about an individual. It's more collectively. Sometimes you get a power play. Maybe you have a little bit more time and space to shoot and have some success, and then maybe you get some confidence from there. And when you get that confidence, you start to feel it a little bit more. Goes to your feet. You start moving a little better. You start opening up space for yourself and other people. So we'll see what kind of offensive look the Rebels are going to come with here. I hope it's not a stagnant power play here. I want to see somebody either go into the middle and play like a box with a guy in the middle, or maybe some up picks and to free a shooter up to come around the top.
They do have the shooters, though. We've seen it. We've seen Nolan Eastwood rip them in. We've seen what Reed Lowe can do. We've seen Dylan Pook have massive performances. But someone's got to find that clutch factor. And I know teams go through, learning curves. I think about the Edmonton Warriors, the first time they went to the Founders. And teams like that, you do have to learn at these tournaments, even if it's the Larry Bishop, you got to be clutch when needed. Power play underway. Calix Simonson's up top. It's a lefty strong look. Reed Lowe, Jackson Baker are the shooters. Simonson to the middle, finds Lowe. Step down, bouncer. Had Misek going the wrong way. Now Calix Simonson takes a little bit of a cross check up high from McLean. Bit of a size difference there. Ref says that's fine. Simonson again with it. Trying to draw a defender. Back to Pook. He scores! One-time tap in. Dylan Pook on the power play. It's a 3-goal game.
The Shamrocks fell completely asleep there on the back of their man short, and Pook takes advantage of it. There really wasn't much ball movement. Simonson just hopped in, held it, and then threw it right down to Pook, who was open, and I think that was DePava down there who was too far into the middle of the floor, and Pook was able to stand right on top of the crease with a great angle and to capitalize.
You know what's funny is I saw the coaches talking about it as they were mentioning something coming out, and I believe they're talking about Misek, who's taking that extra step out now because he's feeling it. He's feeling confident with his movement. And that time they catch him off his goal line and they connect with a quick stick going north-south. So you wonder if that's something they keep an eye on here. But the Shamrocks always seem to have a response. Lutweiler, hands are free to the middle. Toe drag around his defender, one hand on his stick. That's going to be over and back on the Shamrocks as the shot clock expires.
Yeah, a little bit too easy over the top there for Lutweiler. He had a big shooting lane. I'm surprised he didn't take advantage of it, and then elected to try to go back underneath. Nothing there, and he had to just roll it in the corner.
Round robin, Calgary. The score flattered Fort Saskatchewan at 14-9. It was not a close one. Rebels looking to keep pace here. Low inside, count it. No crease call that time. Reed Lowe's got his first of the game.
Excellent frame of mind there by Reed Lowe, or presence of mind. He didn't panic. He didn't bring it in initially. It was down by his feet. He could have bobbled it a second time and knocked it into the corner, but he was able to grab it, keep his feet out of the crease and go up high on Myzik. And we saw the Kings able to go up over top of Myzik a little bit. You wouldn't think that that would be the case, the guy that big, but those top corners are available.
Snee gets the O'Dwyer face-off win. Shots on goal, 26-23 in favor of the Rebels. I think we've talked about it. Those grade A chances are probably pretty close. It's been down to capitalization. Shamrocks find a way every time they get those grade A chances, it feels. The Rebels have dropped a few, and that's why they trail by 2. Kalinic, hard pick got set. Carpenter with the save. Vetch now has to throw it up. Connors can't exactly wait for the ball there. Not sure if he was trying to set a pick or what. Doesn't work out in the Rebels' favor, though.
Yeah, I mean, right now, I'd like to see a little bit more urgency up the floor by the Rebels. That's where they're going to, especially in the second period, that's where they're going to catch the Shamrocks.
This is season on the line for Fort Saskatchewan right now, and they're not exactly playing like it. Pass over the head. Matthew Vetch will defend Dowswell. Over and back gets called. Devin Badgerma runs up on it. We won't divulge into it, but Devin Badgerma has what could be injury of the tournament. And he has found a way to suit up on Sunday and looking fine while doing so. Nolan Eastwood works left to right. Hard pick set by Lowe. Eastwood was kind of in that shooting motion while the pick was set. And so while the Shamrocks want to call, that's not really one that gets blown down.
Yeah, especially in this game where there hasn't really been a whole lot of, not that there's been a lot of calls potentially, but their whistles have been pretty quiet. They're not going to call that.
This has been an awesome game, though. It's good, clean, physical lacrosse. We've seen hits, we've seen hacks, we've seen goals. I love it. If you're a lacrosse fan, not much more you could ask for. Scrimshaw now has it go off of his stick, back to Bowen Carpenter. Won't be back in. Reese Walsh has the outlet. Less than 7 to go in the middle freight. Calgary Shamrocks leading by 2. They've already got their ticket to the Founders Punch. They're the hosts. It starts on August 18th. Fort Saskatchewan playing for a chance to go. Eastwood lets it fly. Low to high, might have had some room. This one's going to go all the way back to his goaltender, though.
Eastwood's got to take 1 or 2 more steps up over top of the dotted to increase his angle, so he's got that far side and short side available. He kind of was too faded away there, and his angle was too tough.
Dowswell now avoids the crease. Backdoor feed. Lutweiler was there. He's already scored a quick stick like that in the contest. Now Teague Brown has a double team on him. Ball's on the concrete. Who scoops it up? Push is called on the Rebels. You can get body position. You can't body check. And that's why it's Calgary ball again. Fresh 30 clock for the Chamois offense to work with. Dowswell. Little swim move, low shot, trying to pick that corner again. Very similar to Eastwood's, backing into a bad angle and trying to pick that far side, thinking you can catch the goalie taking 1 extra step in.
Yeah, and both of these goalies have been pretty solid with their positioning, so it's not very likely you're going to catch them on that one of those.
Calix Simonson down for Nolan Eastwood. Eastwood up top. There's the walk to the middle and trying to pull it short side that time. Eastwood makes the save and then he dropped it. Went back into his crease though, and that's a back in call.
Yeah, that was a good catch by the referee. That would have been an easy one to miss there. It happened pretty quick. Credit to the official there.
Inside feed. Reed Lowe was there, and that second hack by Ryland Patterson might have just saved a goal. Great defense by the youngster, 27 in green. Calix Simonson has Nolan Eastwood up top. Jackson Baker's the lefty shooter spot. Eastwood finds him. Baker trying to walk inside. Jackson Baker, 5-hole attempt. It went off of Misick and ends up behind the cage. Rebels get their defense back, but Ryland Patterson has a head of steam. Patterson to the corner. McLean standing crease side. Backdoor Blake Anderson pass got picked off by Reese Walsh. Now Walsh ends up throwing a pass that got picked by Seth Miller. He'll bat this down in the corner. 8-second count's going to get called on the Rebels.
Smart play there by Miller not to try to pick that up. And a lot of the times you can forget what the situation is, but he's able to bounce or just push it into the corner and force that.
That's a lacrosse player who's learned from Jason Crook. One of the best in the business. Over the top. Miller Lutweiler, backdoor feed. It's grabbed by Nickel. Nickel up the floor. Devin Badgema has a break, but he bobbled it. Badgema now ended up kicking Misik's stick there. Maybe got away with a little bit there.
Yeah, they probably could have blown it dead.
Up the floor, backdoor feed, they score. Chase McCallum, the affiliate, has his first of the game.
The Rebels in reverse transition, that's not very characteristic of what they usually are like in terms of their play. They get caught kind of napping. Two guys flood in behind them, cross crease pass, quick stick, and it's in their net.
You got to assume at some point it's coming, though. If your D guys jumping the ball handler, you got to be prepared for it. That's now multiple backdoor tap-ins the Shamrocks have had. They're up by 3 with 4:23 left to go in the second period. Dwyer scoops it over. Ferrati trying to go backdoor again. McLean has it. Ferrati walks it around the semicircle. Matthew Vetchgont beat inside look, and Bowen Carpenter, big save, but it trickles in. 7-3 Shamrocks, an absolute beautiful finish by Aaron Singh.
That is a tough one for Carpenter because he was there, he read it, and it just got over top of his shoulder and rolled looked like it rolled off his back into the net.
This is very close, though, as I believe Say steps through the crease, but they're going to say he was out before it crosses the goal line. That's a close one. I don't know where the cylinder is or how consistent it gets called, but they'll put it on the scoreboard, and it's 7-3 for Calgary. Teague Brown now running through a double team, can't find someone to pass to. Transition, Jaden Kalinic. Soren Nygren in to set the pick on Reynaud. Dowswell finds Anderson. Anderson back across the floor, inside. Dowswell lets it fly. Carpenter makes a save and he falls back on it.
Really important next 3 minutes here. I think the Rebels need to get at least one before this ends. This period ends. It's going to be a tough hill to climb otherwise.
7-3 feels a lot better than 4-0, though, if you're Fort Saskatchewan, because it was looking a little dark come here 10 minutes ago. Jolivet inside. Eastwood was there, and again, it's those opportunities where if you catch it, that's as good of a look as you're going to see in junior lacrosse. Battle ensues down low. Eastwood and DePaiva getting in it. It'll be Rebels possession here as DePaiva gives Eastwood a cross-check in the chops. Eastwood's going to have to fix his helmet after that one, but Fort Saskatchewan's... Oh, now they're going to grab both, I believe.
Yeah, that surprises me. It looked like they just had the one call. I don't know if maybe Eastwood said something after the fact because it looked like it was a later call on Eastwood.
They're a lot closer to the floor than us, and many would argue they're smarter than us. Well, at least myself, that is. It is an unsportsmanlike conduct call, so it will be 4-on-4 out there. This opens it up, and it would have been Rebels' possession. Now it's 4-on-4 Shamrocks ball. They've got all the momentum, and they look like they've got the fresher legs also.
Yeah, and they, minus that last sequence by DePaiva, they're just playing a little bit more disciplined. You know, these loose balls, there's a lot less pushing, a lot less high hits.
Oh, they are going to say it's still Rebels' ball. I thought they pointed. They put the ball at center and pointed towards Bowen Carpenter.
I think it's because it's a 10, maybe? Because they haven't put any time up on the board. Well, no, actually, yeah, they have. They haven't put DePaiva's time up.
So it'll be Reed Lowe up top here, 4-on-4. Now they've got DePaiva's up there, and we'll play on. 7-3 Shamrocks lead. It's the semifinals at the Larry Bishop Memorial Cup. Reed Lowe actually caught it, throws a BTB, and he stepped in the crease.
Cannot believe he caught that. He was sandwiched in between two guys, and it was a great play. It's just too bad he didn't have more room.
McLean now on a breakaway, stopped by Carpenter. Rebound, robbed by Carpenter again. Bowen Carpenter, a massive save just to keep this a 4-goal game.
That back-in call obviously is going to hurt here. Now extended possession here for the Shamrocks.
Inside feed, Miller got tossed down by Reese Walsh. Lutweiler, 2 in the game. Trying to swim back on Devin Badgerma. Pound for pound, the toughest defender in the junior B circuit. And I'd put that nationwide. Dowswell throws one towards the netminder. Doesn't make it there before the 30 clock expires.
Just absolutely relentless. You saw him using his stick to kind of harass the Shamrocks there all over the floor. And yeah, he's been their best player by far in this game, Davin Badgerma, for the Rebels.
Calix Simonson over to Ryland Connors. Connors now, spin back, pick got set by Simonson. Connors, maybe room to shoot there. If you got your hands free, you got to take those opportunities. Braid Lowe, stick in his face, on the roll, 5-hole scores! Braid Lowe says, get up, Fort Saskatchewan. He's got his second of the period.
So when the offense isn't working and they're struggling, you need your best guys to just create sometimes. And Reed Lowe goes for a run. He has heavy pressure on him up top. He continued on the run, wasn't able to plant, and he still is able to go 5-hole on Myzik there. And, you know, he's a guy he's one of those guys that the ball just finds ways to go into the net for, and because he's an elite scorer, and that's just the way it goes.
Reynaud, Pooks off the bench. Jolivet cutting through the middle. Dylan Pook will slow it down here. Finds Jolivet. Jolivet swim down. Great defense by Ben McLean. Ryland Connors kept to the outside as well. 4-on-4 still for the next 20 seconds. Connors dropped it. Doesn't get the loose ball battle either, and now we'll have to go for a change here as there's 3 on the shot clock.
Yeah, a little bit. It was a nice move, a spin move to get inside. It's just unfortunate the ball got jarred out at the last second.
Gavin Ferrati, 1 goal this afternoon inside the Jubilee Recreation Center. Spins around Longmire towards the net. Bowen Carpenter kicks safe. Nickel up for Eastwood. Eastwood 1-on-3, lets it go. Myzik makes the save. That's going to give the Shamrocks an opportunities for a 2-for-1 still, though. Transition back door. It's off the crosswalk. I don't believe Bowen Carpenter got a piece of that. Eastwood now touches up. If he would have waited a couple of seconds, he could have ran this down. They could have pulled their goaltender. They are still going to call timeout, though. There's about a 3-second differential, shot clock, game clock. Not a huge issue, but it could come back to bite you, and you know where.
So yeah, if you hold this to about, I don't know, that would leave you with about, if you hold this to about the 8-second mark of your shot clock, that would give you what, about 9 seconds in the game on the game clock. So I think you got to be aggressive here, though. If you're the Rebels, you're down 3, only basically a period to go. You got to take chances to come back, and that's one of the chances you're probably going to need to take is get your goalie out, even though there's a bit of a difference between game clock and shot clock.
Yeah, you'd be crazy not to. I will give credit to Carpenter, though. Yes, the post saves him on that one, but just his flexibility to take away some of the net and make McLean think twice. You know, if that goes in, we're talking backbreaker. If the Shamrocks are up by 4 heading into, the second intermission, that's, pretty depleting if you're Carpenter and the Rebels squad.
He was able to throw his stick up at the last second, and sometimes that type of motion can distract or interrupt a shooter's thought, and I think that might have been what happened there.
Well, they are sending Carpenter back, and I wonder if this is a little trickery or if they're actually going to keep him there. Keeping the helmet on, and he's walking the entire way back. Sounds like Calix Simonson's saying at 4 seconds. So they turn the shot clock off, and they can't walk it down and stop it here for some reason in the building. I feel like technology has to be better by now, that we can just punch that in on like an iPhone or something, but I'm not smart enough to invent those type of things. Simonson will have it up top, 5-on-5 on the floor. Carpenter still between the pipes. Rebels happy to run it at even strength. Low down for Connors, inside, Reed Lowe. cut through the crease. He didn't have possession of the ball.
No. Yeah, I think maybe they say it hit him, maybe? Because it kind of looked like it might have went off his leg and maybe he was standing in the crease.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah, I think that might have worked.
It's a bit of a weird one because the ball was rolling behind the net.
Yeah.
Now the Shamrocks have it. 5 seconds to work with here. Little drive is sneeze stripped by Matthew Vetch, and that's a massive defensive play right there by the Fort Saskatchewan Rebels captain. Matthew Vetch comes up clutch because Kalen Snee can put the ball in the net. He was a step away from a partial breakaway. Well, we're at the second intermission. 40 down, 20 to go. The Calgary Shamrocks holding a 7-4 lead. Let's throw it back to the studio. Aiden Bolsgard is standing by on CROW LAX TV.
Welcome to the second intermission here between the Calgary Shamrocks and the Fort Saskatchewan Rebels. It is the semifinals here on Sunday, and oh boy, did things open up in that middle frame. Mo, we saw lots of goals, only 2 in the opening 20, and then from here we saw, it looks to be 9 goals in that second frame. The Shamrocks instilling their offense on the Rebels in spurts, scoring goals in droves, but the Rebels answering back, keeping themselves in it, only trailing by 3. We have ourselves a game here. What'd you think of that middle frame?
You know, I thought that the Rebels really upped their defensive intensity on 5-on-5 sets. They did get caught a little bit in transition, and that's where the Shamrocks really made them pay. And it's kind of counterintuitive because coming into this game, you would have thought it would be the other way around. The Shamrocks playing the Rebels style of game, just doing it better right now. And then offensively, they've accessed the middle a little bit better. The Rebels still struggling to do that. But Reed Lowe, just finishing from up top a couple of times, has them back in the game.
That's exactly it, Mo. That's what I would have said. The Rebels not playing their usual game, almost seems a little bit tentative on the offensive end, which I think is turning into a lack of offense for them. Transition usually accounting for 3 or 4 goals in a game for them, and not even really attempting to make that a play in this game. Maybe that's a pre-scout of the Shamrocks. It's not seeming like they're going for it at all. Is there anything else, Mo, that you have for the folks at home before we head into a slight break before our third period pre-show?
Davin Bajma, I mean, what else can you say? The guy's like all heart. A lot of the time he scored right after that huge hit along the boards. He's willing them into this game. Without him, I don't know where they'd be. Clear MVP, maybe alongside Carpenter at this point, but or Lowe. But you know, he's outstanding. I can't say enough. And if people knew what he's playing through, you'd be pretty floored.
Ben Renault also making an entrance back into the Rebels lineup in this game. That one unexpected, but he is here and trying to make an impact. But I agree, Bajma, one of the few stars here for the Rebels in this contest. We're about 7.5 away from your third period. We're going to take a break, and we'll be back in 5 minutes. My name's Aiden Bolsgard. Mo's on color. Gabby's running the computer, and Tristan on the camera. That's your crew today, so don't get too far, because this game is live for the third period in 5 minutes on CROW LAX TV. Hello and welcome back on CROW LAX TV. My name's Aiden Bolsgaard, joined by Mo Joma, your color commentator. Today, we're approaching our third and possible final frame of this contest. It's the Shamrocks leading the Rebels in the semifinals of the Larry Bishop, 7-4. Mo, it's been quite a performance for the Shamrocks offense so far. Aaron Say, 1 goal, 3 assists in this contest, most points on his squad through 2 periods. What do you thought of his game today?
You know, he's a big guy that I was talking about during the game, where he's really picked up his game as the games have mattered more and more in the playoffs through the Larry Bishop. Very crafty, gets inside very well. You saw a pick and roll where he capitalized on. It kind of happened deep in that far corner there, and it kind of materialized out of nothing. He's very creative and a very good player.
Many others to mention on that squad for the Shamrocks. Leutwiler, 2 goals, 1 assist. Say leading the way. Liam O'Dwyer, 3 assists as well, and other small contributions across their lineup. But for the Rebels, they're in this one, only trailing by 3. Again, it's been a great performance from Reed Lowe. He has 2 goals in this contest, getting back that one that was called off from him early in the first. And then Nolan Eastwood getting involved against the Shamrocks once again, just seems to have their number. He's got a goal and an assist. What do you thought of Eastwood? Again, an aggressive offensive player in this game.
Yeah, you saw him mixing it up with the much bigger DePaiva. That's really who he is. He doesn't back down from anyone, and he can kind of score out of nowhere. He scored from way up high earlier in that second period, and he's a guy that, if they can get maybe a few more looks in transition, can definitely help them out on the scoreboard.
Again, guys like Ryland Connors getting involved. Reed Lowe again leading the way, but Caleb Simonson, 2 assists. Joel Yvette on that score sheet. And as well, Dylan Pook, a goal and an assist in this game. Again, one of those young guys for the Rebels that's going to be around for a few years yet. That just continues to get better and better. But nonetheless, Mo, that's going to do it for our pre-show of this third period. It's going to be Cody Jansen on the call once again. 20 minutes to decide who will meet the Mavericks in that final game tomorrow. My name's Aiden Bolsgaard, and I'm happy to check in with you in 20 minutes. Let's see how this one pans out.
Thank you, Aiden. Wow, what a game. What a Sunday afternoon. Come on. The JRC is rocking, and the Junior Beast is alive and well. I'll tell you for free, you're not going to find better action for $5 in person. Or hey, how about one of those leagues that streams games for free? What a coincidence, eh? We're live on CROW LAX TV. It's Cody Jansen, Mo Joma with you. Rocking out the Calgary Shamrocks are balling out on a Sunday afternoon. Liam O'Dwyer, a face-off win, and it'll be the Shammies who get first possession in the third period. They're going left to right, wearing their home green threads, gold trim. Leutwiler, little backhand attempt. Ends up going to the corner. Bajma knocked McLean off the ball. Now this is going to bounce over to Matthew Vetch. Doesn't handle it cleanly. He'll scoop it up in front of the penalty box.
Yeah, I thought Vetch might try to grab that a lot quicker. Nickel was storming up the floor. Maybe if he grabs that quickly, they could get a 2-on-1.
Shots on goal, 32-30 in favor of Calgary. Connors, 2 assists in the game. Low and inside feed. Simonson couldn't handle it cleanly. He runs into a double team. Wisely kicks it out. Dylan Pook has it. Pook, a toe drag, ends up in the corner.
Yeah, you know, Pook was kind of over there by himself. Nobody really coming to set a pick. There was no real lane for him to come up over top of, no seal, and that's what you get. You get a turnover.
Ashton Johnston up top. Riley Dowswell finds Seth Miller. Miller, 10 on the shot clock. Kicks it up top, Dowswell again. Feed for Miller, inside ball movement. Dowswell's there, and Carpenter makes the save.
Huge save there by Carpenter. He somehow stayed on his feet long enough to wait Dowswell out and keep his most of his body between the pipes.
I can't believe how well Riley Dowswell just fits into every offensive system. I mean, I know he's a skilled player. He's athletic. He's kind of the perfect forward, but he just seamlessly fits in as Mizek makes a stop on Baker.
He goes to school with another guy that's played for multiple teams at Emmanuel, Josh Vodchuk, both players playing in their college lacrosse there.
McLean walks right to the middle. You cannot give away prime real estate without a mortgage, and he bounces this one just outside of the post.
Yeah, Rebels starting this period off looking a little disjointed and a little fatigued here.
A lot of pressure as the hosts in this tournament. Connors floats it far. Reed low. Put him on hat-trick watch. He has 2 already today. Connors will spin back. 8 on the shot clock. Eastwood slips down. Connors lets it fly from way too far out, and it's a couple feet wide.
When Connors had that ball, there was 14 seconds on the shot clock, and he held it till about 6, and then took himself all the way out to the restraining line. You just can't play offense like that.
Jimmy Quinlan says there's 2 keys to offense. Move the ball, move your feet. So you cannot hold on to it for those durations. Lutweiler inside. He's stopped by Carpenter, and he's running to the boards by Teague Brown. That one cutting it very close to a boarding call.
Yeah, and Brown looks like he had some words to offer Lutweiler after the fact. Yeah, pretty walking the fine line there.
Well, there was a lot of conversation in warm-ups between these 2 teams, and both of those guys were standing in the neutral zone, and I don't think they were discussing dinner plans either. 10 on the shot clock. Jolivet has it. He'll work towards the middle. Simonson backdoor feed intended for Eastwood. Doesn't catch it cleanly. Those feel like the chances where Calgary's catching them and converting, and the Rebels have been dropping passes.
Yeah, there's been a lot of that. That was a better effort there. Eastwood takes off in behind his defender. He goes underneath off ball and just unable to bring it in.
Inside, McLean stopped by Carpenter. Ferrati grabs the loose ball. He's hauled down now by Thies, and free hand there. Now holding calls coming. Should have been an over and back too, as Ferrati crossed the center line. Ref says play on. Dowswell has a dozen to work with. They'll go 6 on 5. They've already scored on a delayed penalty earlier this game. Low shot by Sate rings the red. That's going to bounce all the way back into Shamrocks territory. And for the Rebels, that's unfortunate. It doesn't bounce into a bench because now the clock keeps rolling. And they can just sit on this one.
Yeah, you're going to potentially go all the way down close to the 15-minute mark now if the Shamrocks hold this.
Seth Miller over the restraining line. Say, Nygren trying to set a pick down low. Seth Miller steps into one. It's over the net, and this is going to be over and back this time as it didn't touch anyone.
So it happened a while ago now, but that holding call, you know, the ball is going absolutely nowhere. It's by your bench near center, and you're down 3 in a must-win game, and you're taking that penalty. If you're a Rebel coach, you cannot be happy with that.
I think some would call that a brain fart right there. Taking penalties 100 feet away from your net, you probably shouldn't do that, especially against a team like the Calgary Shamrocks. This is their first true power play of the game. They've had a few 6 on 5 looks earlier, though. Now another hold is coming up against Reese Walsh. You got to be two-hand tough on defense, especially 5 feet away from the stripes. Lutweiler lets it fly. This one's going to bounce sky high. Seth Miller has it. Trying to pass it down for Nygren. Reese Walsh is just going to try sit on this one and kill a little bit more time off the original minor penalty. They'll push his forward into the boards, and Fort Saskatchewan's going to be down 2 men.
Yeah, this is devastating. And again, like, you're already shorthanded, and there was nothing imminent there that was going to take place. And you're getting a call like that, it's going to be very, very tough to rebound from, as they look like they just booted somebody out of the building here. Somebody up on that rail near the net, probably not too happy with whatever just happened, or, you know, that sequence of calls. But you can't. The first one was obvious. Couldn't really see the second one, but yeah, those are just bad penalties.
I think those are usually 50-50 calls.
Yeah.
But if you're doing it 5 feet away from the ref, it's a lot more likely to get blown down. Now it's a 5-on-3 here for Calgary. The run 4-on-3. Dowswell, Miller, the shooters. Here's Miller. Doesn't let it fly. Dowswell will, and he scores. Power play connects. It's 8-4.
That was a nice twister release there by Dowswell. He caught Carpenter, I think, thinking he was going to go far side, and that twister, that stick angle, your platform of which you're shooting comes back towards your face into the middle of the net where the 5-hole is, and he catches him moving his stick over and his foot over.
If you're Fort Saskatchewan, you're not doing your goaltender any favors by putting your team shorthanded in this situation. I mean, he's going to have to be near perfect from this one out. And the only guy to do it against the Shamrocks who I've seen in the last few years, Alex Swan. He's sitting a couple rows below us here in the broadcast booth. Safe. Top for Miller. Nygren. Dowswell surveys the floor inside. Miller was all low and pass doesn't hit him though. Nygren. Wild feed for Leutwiler. Nickel now up the floor for Matthew Vench.
Yeah, on that last sequence there on that power play, I thought that the Shamrocks did a nice job of getting the ball quickly across the top, not holding it, and that's why Dowswell had all that space to lay into that shot.
Dowswell doesn't give it for Anderson. Nick Leutwiler's up top. 2 in the game for Leutwiler. Miller back to Leutwiler. Heavy wind up. Owen Carpenter with the stop. Leutwiler for Dowswell. Little flip back. Miller now low to low. Denied by Carpenter. Leutwiler shooting gallery continues, and this one goes in.
Leutwiler has already had very big impact on this game, and he's had shots where he's gone over top of Carpenter with an overhand. He drops down there low to low and hits the pipe. I think it was coming back out, but it hit Carpenter and rolled back into the net.
Unfortunate bounce right there, and now Fort Saskatchewan finds themselves in a heck of a hole. Down 9-4 against the Calgary Shamrocks, the hosts of the Founders Cup in 2025. Desmond's battling O'Dwyer. Nickel runs up on it. Dylan Pook's off the bench to help. Dylan Pook, big wind up. Shot's gonna bounce all the way back into his own zone though. Bit of the story of the game for Fort Saskatchewan right there, as they don't get a grade A opportunity, and now the Shamrocks a chance to pad this lead.
Yeah, it's quality. I don't think one guy went inside the 24 that whole shift.
Nygren let it fly. He's got a couple goals in the playoffs. Brown up the floor. Vetch has a partial break. In front of the change box, Teague Brown just got taken out. Refs say it's clean this time. Calix Simonson jogs down. Vetch. Harvey Baker. Eastwood. Shot got blocked. Grabbed by Highcamp. He's slowed down by Eastwood a little bit. Now Eastwood gets tangled up with Johnson behind the play. Aaron Saint sets up on the half wall.
Now's the time of the game where you're going to see the Shamrocks really use the 30.
Say got around a pick from Miller. Long look there by Anderson. Goes off the boards. Grabbed by Calix Simonson. Extended shift for him as Nolan Eastwood sets the cold shoulder. Eastwood. Round Ferrati. BTB pass. A little airborne for Dylan Pook. Right idea, wrong execution that time. Transition, here's Nygren, stopped by Carpenter.
Still giving him a chance here. It's getting late now, 11 and a half to go, down 5. You probably have about 11 possessions left. It's crunch time now. You got to go on a run right now.
Rebels have one shot this period. Through 8 minutes and almost 40 seconds. Jolivet, 7 on the shot clock. Still plenty of time. They end up turning it over. Ryland Patterson on a break. Patterson decides to pass to McLean. Playing with fire. Bowen Carpenter picks it up.
That's a break there for the Rebels. They just kind of botched that pass there. And I thought Patterson could have just ran in himself if he faded to the correct spot on the or correct side of the floor.
Yeah, he had a full-on breakaway. You don't need to go 2-on-0 there. Pook waiting for someone to move their feet. Jolivet up top. They'll drive down. Reed Lowe sets the pick. Jolivet again. Trying to get something in the direction of the net, but the Shamrocks have been suffocating on defense.
Yeah, you know, the Rebels were kind of struggling offensively already. Now in the third period, the Shamrocks are just kind of locking in and really not letting anything up.
Missing one of their top forwards in Jackson Kohut today. Bajema, make sure that pass doesn't get through to McCallum. Grabbed by Ben Raynaud. Chase McCallum, this is his first game back in almost 3 months after breaking his foot. Here's Raynaud, breaks towards the net, shoots it over there, and it ends up right in the stick of Ryland Patterson. Patterson, one-on-one. He'll pull this one, little fake inside around Thiessen, he's stopped by Carpenter. Carpenter, another massive save. And the Shamrocks get another loose ball.
Patterson playing like a mini Bajema right now, the way he just aggressively brought the ball up the floor and just dived underneath the guy and went to the net and then went and picked the loose ball back up.
Missed pass by Miller. Matthew Vetch has it. Vetch runs right into traffic as well. Try to go far side, he scores. The captain says we're not going home yet.
Goaltenders, we talked about it yesterday, cannot pick up Vetch's unique release. It gets on top of them quickly. There's no tell to it. It's the push shot. As I've said before, it's kind of like a shot put motion, and they have real trouble with it, and he does it again in transition. Another guy stepping up, an older guy, a veteran, and that's what they need. But again, they're not going to come all the way back unless their offense finds it.
Yeah, the captain gives him a clutch one, but Liam O'Dwyer gets the ball right back for the Shamrocks. Inside, McLean's there, and he's robbed by Carpenter. Free ball for Micah Thiessen, up for Nickel. We'll see if the Rebels can start to stack solid shifts on top of each other. Dylan Pook, one goal in the contest, came on the power play. It's a backdoor tap in. Connors now one-on-one. Whips it wide. I see the shot look there, but just too much time to be taking those from the outside.
Yeah, the shot itself was actually really good. It was a pull to that short side, had a lot of steam on it, good release, just barely missed. But yeah, you know, you got to give yourself the opportunity to get inside of the floor and get those higher danger opportunities. Right now, the Rebels, you know, with about 8.5 to go, you're looking at, you want to get this down to, I'd say, 2 before the 5-minute mark, and with about, you know, 8-9 possessions on offense left, a 4-goal climb is steep, and maybe you can you probably need to generate 1 or 2 transition goals, and then maybe your offense can click a couple times and shut the door the other way, and you're back in it. But it is a tough ask. It's not done yet, though.
They've been bailed out by Bowen Carpenter too many times, though, right now.
Yeah.
This is something where, I know the shots don't exactly tell the story, but the Shamrocks do not take bad shots that often. They got 44 on the board. They probably got about 20 good scoring chances already.
Yeah, and also the bar. I think that last one just rang the top of the crossbar, that cross crease look. But yeah, you know, he has played much better. They needed him to step up, and there's no way you could say, hey, you know, we fell short in this game because of Carpenter. He's been good.
Shamrocks up by 4 with 8:38 left to go in the third. You need one every couple of minutes if you're Fort Saskatchewan, and you got to be perfect in front of your own goal line. Say sends it down. Quick pass inside, bit of a tip drill. Dowswell's there, and he's robbed by Carpenter again.
Yep, and a little too lackadaisical in front of the net. Dowswell was able to just slide in there, and nobody really covered him, and it slid over on him.
Johnson for Pook. Jolivet goes hard through the middle. He drags a defender back. Everyone else peels off to the outside. Connors trying to run through a double team up top. Calix Simonson lets it fly. Off the mark, got his own rebound back, and he's denied by Misek. Again, Chase Misek's just reading the play one step ahead of these Rebels forwards right now. He knew exactly where Simonson wanted to go.
And that was one of those broken plays that the Rebels often capitalize off of. Ball off of the end boards, picked back up in the middle, and a good answer there by Misek.
Gavin Ferrati. 15 on the shot clock. Circles up top. Good slide by Jack Nickel to come help out Scrimshaw. Dowswell looking to get those hands free. Decides to pass it to Miller instead. 2 to shoot. Miller now. Wildly got one off. Takes a heavy hit from Hudson Scrimshaw. Nickel over to Matthew Vetch. Rebels are probably going to need a couple more in transition here if they want to close this gap. Down by 4 with 7 to play. Baker, spin back. Trying to cut through, and some of those things might work during the summer against certain teams you're facing. Against the Calgary Shamrocks and, you know, the top 3 teams or top 2 teams in the Rocky Mountain Lacrosse League. No way, Jose.
Nope, just too much time staying in the sticks of, you know, individuals, and when you have it for 5, 6, 7 seconds, your whole offense gets shut down.
Blake Anderson. Aaron Saint. All got knocked free. Nygren's battling down there. Kalinic as well. Kalinic, heavy slash up high on Badgeman. Transition now. Ben Reynaud. Ben Reynaud walks in. Save made by Misek. Despens trying to battle for the rebound. Ben Reynaud might grab it behind the net, and he will. Shot clock gets reset. The defender, an extended shift for him. Leaves way for the offensive experts, needing to do their job now. Reed low, toe drink. Walks himself into a double team though. Trying to pass it across. That got deflected. Inside, Despens was staying on offense. Ran through the crease.
Yeah, Reed low. It looked like he might have a step on his defender, but that's a product of not moving enough off ball, because there was another Shamrock or 2 waiting for him once he got past his initial defender there in the middle.
Now Ferrati sees the C's part, and Carpenter again. Massive save with that right hand. Now Bowen Carpenter, we've got to see him play quite a fair amount here. He's continued to elevate his game. I've seen him play in the States a couple of times. He was just a 2nd overall pick down in Montana with the lacrosse league down there. And boy, he's really held his own as he makes an unbelievable save on the back door. And now Eastwood wants a pound of flesh, and things are going to get physical behind the Rebels' net. Well, enough whistle blows. I mean, they might as well get in there and break it up, but I think they're just going to give the Rebels possession out of all that.
Yeah, I was watching that sequence happen. I was more so locked in on Carpenter in that save. And
that was unbelievable back door. We kind of glazed over it because of all the extra chaos.
Yeah, so I saw Eastwood kind of take a swing at somebody, but I don't know how that started.
Connors, long range. Save made by Misek. Hard hit there, and Badgeman is going to take exception to that. And now behind the play, DePaiva takes a shot at Baker. Well, there's one for sure. There probably should be 2. We'll see what the refs decide.
Yeah, I thought that the original call should have been on the Shamrocks, and then obviously you can't react the way Badgeman did, cross-checking the Shamrock on the ground. I think it should be 4-on-4 here.
Yeah, the Shamrocks get away with one behind the scenes, but sometimes those calls just go your way, and they're up by 4 with 5 minutes to go. We'll get a wipe of the floor here. Shots on goal 45-40 in favor of Calgary. Shamrocks are 1 for 2 on the man advantage. They also have a goal on a delayed penalty earlier in the game.
You know what this also does is it prevents you from being able to pull your goalie and go 6-on-5. You're down 4. We're already with 5 minutes, or less than 5, or you're just on the 5-minute mark here. So you're not able to go 6-on-5 like you would want to as early as now. I would want to be pulling my goalie. So it's just going to delay that process. And even if you kill it off, it's 3 minutes all of a sudden left in the game. It's going to be tough.
Shamrocks power play getting drawn up. I see Zane Fletcher down there as well. Boy, I bet you he probably had 50 power play goals across his junior career. Not a bad guy to learn how to rip the ball from. Fletcher playing college ball out east for one more year, I do believe. Still plays senior in the Rocky Mountain Lacrosse League, or Alberta Series Lacrosse, as they call it about like 30% of the time. Soren Nygren goes down low. Help comes in the form. Seth Miller's up top. Miller will play pass with Dowswell. Dowswell up top. Nygren doesn't let it go. Dowswell did. Nygren got it. Backdoor. Oh my goodness. What a save by Carpenter. Rebound. Are you kidding me? Someone call Sports Center. Bowen Carpenter. That save of the tournament. Nygren over to Dowswell. Power plays clicking. Nygren stop. Rebels unable to control. Miller backdoor pass. Say has it. He'll spin off trouble. 30 clock resets for the Shamrocks. Rebels defender without a stick, and Ben Reno inside feed. Carpenter again with the left arm. Vetch all over him. Nygren slows it down. Dowswell's there. Lefty strong look still in the power play. Less than 4 to go in regulation. Rebels somehow still within 4 for the time being. Nygren stepped down. That got soaked by Thiessen. Oh, they're going to say over and back. I guess I'm not sure exactly what that hit there.
I think it hit the partition on the back of the end boards, the top of the boards.
I felt like that changed direction before.
I think he just fell out of his stick oddly.
Okay, maybe that makes sense.
Up. Yeah.
Again, we'll blame the netting in this building. You guys see it on the broadcast, right? Don't blame me for that one. What a power play, though. Can't ask for many better looks. Pass goes way behind Reed Lowe, and now east to it. That's what happens when you play with fire there. If you're throwing passes at that angle, you got to know your home boards. That's going to be an over and back, and now the power play continues for Calgary.
Yeah, I was talking about it. This building is a bit unique because the glass in the corners rounds. It's not like a sharp, almost like a 90-degree angle. It's flat around the board, so the ball, if it hits one of the panes of glass,
it's not like the Mem Center in Peterborough.
If it hits one of those 3 panes in the corner, it goes out very different angles every time. So you got to kind of play it and know where the ball is going to go off.
So now Badgema comes out of the box in 18 seconds. I think if you're the Rebels, you know that the Shamrocks are probably going to hold it until that time being. Actually, they might be. I don't know what's exactly going on with the clock here right now. I think they're trying to add more time.
3:27. I think it's 3:27 maybe, and they got 32.7.
Yeah, I believe that is correct.
There we go.
Now it's up there. And then for Badgema's penalty, they still have yet to add that up. But again, I believe he'll be out very similar to the shot clock expiring. So the Shamrocks will have to be careful about that one. You see Nick Lutweiler up top already. They trust him to play defense if needed, right? Like he knows that, hey, when Badgema's out of the box, you guys better get back.
Yeah, and it wouldn't even shock me to see them hold it for an extended period of time here, and then maybe see your 2 shooters flare out and get back or go to the bench.
28 seconds go on for Badgema's penalty. Shamrocks can essentially put this one out of reach here with the goal, though. Dowswell up top. Lutweiler doesn't shoot. Dowswell will, and he scores. Twister 5-hole once again.
Excellent change of angle there on that shot. That twister short side this time by the foot of Carpenter. And how do you beat a goalie that's feeling it, that's using his athleticism to his advantage? You change the angle of which from which platform you're shooting from, and that was a way that Dowswell was able to do it to get it by Carpenter.
Rebels are going to pull Carpenter now and go 6-on-5 off the face-off. Down 10-5 now with 3:14 left to go.
I like it.
That one took the air out of the building, and the Rebels faithful, which showed up in droves for an afternoon game on a Sunday. This place is rocking. Bajma gets control off the face-off. Now they'll go 6-on-5 and get the forwards on the floor. Can't use too much of that shot clock, though. Connors still in the shooter's spot. 3 lefties, 3 righties enter. Connors for Lowe. Lowe walking it in. Back over to Simonson. Save made by Mizek. McLean up the floor. Finds Johnston. Johnston, chance at the empty net. Jackson Baker's got to play goalie. Johnston not shooting it. Nickel won't take a penalty. Sneak down low. Johnson inside. Carpenter got back into the net. Thiessen pushes him in. Carpenter's going to be getting a workout in here as he keeps going back and forth between the bench and the net. Reynaud drops it. Simonson and Pook up top. Baker let it fly. Didn't catch anyone. This could be rolled back into the empty net, though. Jackson Baker, own goal. That sums up the semifinal for Fort Saskatchewan. The Calgary Shamrocks and essentially the Mountain View Mavericks have punched their ticket to the Founders Cup.
Yep, and you could see the dejection right now on Reed Lowe's face as he tried to get back to grab it before it went in, and he lay on the ground for a little while after. Tough way for your season to end. You're one goal or you're one game away from getting to the RMLL Larry Bishop Cup Memorial Final, and it's been a day and a tournament really where the Rebels just sort of haven't found their rhythm, and in a game that I thought kind of set up well for them the way it's been played, it hasn't gone their way. They just haven't been good in transition, and when they're because of their offense struggling, it had to be in transition today, and they've been beat that way, beat in that fashion. The Shamrocks have played their game, and they've beaten them at it.
Get another wipe of the floor here with 2:05 left to go. And essentially, Mo, walk us through the Founders Cup seating now, because with the Shamrocks win, Mountain View gets in.
Right, so the Mavericks are going to return to the Founders Cup for the 2nd year in a row. Remember last year, they made the final of the Larry Bishop Memorial and lost to the Blizzard, but the Blizzard were already in as the Manitoba representative, so they went as the RMLL representative. This year, they're in as the RMLL representative because the Shamrocks, who they'll be playing tomorrow, are the hosts.
Over and back called on Nolan Eastwood. A little bit of an extended whistle there, kind of threw everyone off, and then the Shamrocks end up throwing that away. Pass over the head of Dylan Pook.
I don't know if I'm missing something, Cody, but I didn't hear them blow it back in.
Well, I think that was the extended whistle. Is that?
Yeah, okay.
I think that was the one meaning to blow it back in, and it was just way too long. Reed Lowe up top, let it fly. Mizek, great save. Spun back, didn't need to. Ball was in front of him. He's locked in. They're going to push the Mavericks tomorrow for sure, but Jason Mizek versus Alex Swan is such a great goaltending matchup. And again, versus Bowen Carpenter as well. He's exactly on their level. It's just been the defenses have been 2 separate units in this game.
DePaiva still with might get a look at the empty net here.
DePaiva towards the cage, puts it home. 12-5 Shamrocks with 68 seconds left to go in the third.
So the Shamrocks, as hosts, were already in before the tournament started, but they're going to return to the Founders Cup for the first time since they won it in 2019, because, if you want a little brief history lesson, 2020 and 2021 were COVID years. No Founders Cup, no national championships, no lacrosse, really. During those seasons in 22 and 23, the Warriors went, and the Warriors won it in 23. Last year, the Mavericks represented. This year, the Mavericks will represent the RMLL again, but the Shamrocks will return alongside them as hosts.
DePaiva now runs into Calix Simonson, who's a little slow to get up here. Right low off the bench. Low. Puts it down to Matthew Vetch. Vetch and Longmire out there. They'll let the 5th years run. Simonson, bouncer goes wide. Longmire Trying to get back. McLean's going to grab it. 30 seconds left, and the captain holds on to it. Up top, Kalen Sneak. Johnston up there, he holds on to it. Well, Mo, what's the biggest difference maker in this one for Calgary today that they didn't have in their toolkit yesterday?
You know what? I thought they turned the tables. You know, they got pressured all over the floor by the Mavericks. They were turning it over a little bit. They got killed in transition. Today, you know, right off the face-off, you saw them score a goal. They had a breakaway from Snee. They were really good on loose balls, and I thought that their defense was more aggressive. And maybe that was a lesson they took out of that Maverick game where they were kind of pushed around.
3, 2, 1. The Calgary Shamrocks have won the Larry Bishop Memorial Cup semifinal, and they'll take on the Mountain View Mavericks tomorrow for the trophy. Next up, the Jackson Porter Player of the Game, sponsored by Cyclone Environmental Services. For myself, Cody Jansen, I'll sign off. Let's send it back up to the studio. Aiden Bullsgard, Mo Joma are standing by with the postgame.
So it's a victory in this one for the Shamrocks. They had it the whole way through. The Rebels sent home on home turf. It's a short drive for them after this semi-final. Mo, that third period really just showed which team deserved to have this one. Rebels losing their head a little bit, running into some penalty trouble. That makes this game look a little more spread out than it was, but rightfully so. The Shamrocks headed for a date with the Mavericks on Monday.
Yeah, you know, we were talking about it as the game was ending. The Shamrocks kind of took a page out of what happened to them yesterday. You know, pressure all over the floor defensively, and they capitalized in transition. They were taking off earlier. You know, Snee with a breakaway goal in the first period. They had a face-off win. They scored right off of when the Rebels had narrowed it down to, I think, 5-3. They had O'Dwyer win that face-off right down the floor, quick stick in the net. That was a big momentum changer, and it kind of seized back the game for them. So I thought a lot of what was done to them by the Mavericks yesterday, they took that and again reversed it on the Rebels.
311 concurrent viewers here on YouTube watching this matchup between the Rebels and the Shamrocks, which again goes the same way it did in the round robin, a spread out victory for the Shams. And what a performance it was in this one for the 21-year-old Nick Leweiler, putting it all on the line here in his 21-year-old year. 3 goals, 3 assists. I didn't see any hats hit the floor, but nonetheless it counts all the same. A big contributor for the Shamrocks in this one. We highlighted him pre-game. We knew that he'd be one of those players that could make a difference, and Mo, did he ever in this one here today?
Yeah, huge frame, great shot, and a guy that will drive the net as well. He's not perimeter. He doesn't limit his game to just that. He uses his size to open up some floor, not only for himself, but for others. And he really stepped up. I thought he was good on the power play. He set up Dowswell a couple of times on those twisters. Just very excellent game from him. Stepping in, on that top of that power play when Auger couldn't go.
If you're the Fort Saskatchewan Rebels, it hurts right now, but what a season from them, really. North Final champions, win that series 2-0 over the CROW and truly dominated all season long. We still had 4 weekends left in the season when we knew they would be in the North Final this year. They truly had themselves a great season. I know it hurts, but your head should be held high. I mean, for a guy like Captain Matthew Vetch, another veteran on this squad, getting himself on the board in this contest in true Matthew Vetch fashion as well, tucking one bottom low right corner, and it was beautiful, and you got a feel for a guy like him here. And now we're getting to our player of the game announcements. So from the Rebels, it's Reed Lowe, led his team in points throughout the playoffs, and the Larry Bishop added another 2 goals in this game today, and rightfully so, named the player of the game for what will stand as the last game of the season in this 2025 season for the Fort Saskatchewan Rebels. And now we'll see who's going to get the name from the Shamrocks.
Player of the game for the Calgary Shamrocks, number 30, Chase Bissett.
It's going to be the goaltender for the Shamrocks, Chase Mysick. He deserves it. He stood tall between the pipes today. So that's your 2 MVPs. It's Reed Lowe and the goaltender Mysick for the Shamrocks. It's time to rest up if you're Calgary. Mo, you got a big one tomorrow for the Larry Bishop. It all comes down to that at 2 p.m. live on CROW LAX TV. Mo, the Shams took a rough loss to the Mavs earlier on in this tournament. Just lightly. We're going to highlight it more tomorrow, but what do they got to do to be more successful in that one?
They got to be ready for those doubles that the Mavericks are going to throw at you mid-floor. Like, they don't wait for you to set up 5-on-5. They'll double you in the middle of the floor. They'll close off lanes. They'll force you down the boards, and they'll bring that second guy. So that ball's got to get low, make the Mavericks turn their heads and have to actually set up on defense and not be able to turn you over as much. And then offensively, you know, the Shamrocks, I thought, their shooting wasn't on in that game. They're going to have to be dialed in, obviously, from the outside because it is tough to get inside on the Mavericks and be ready for that reverse transition. Get off the floor quickly, prevent them from getting those 2-on-1s and breakaways. And, you know, they're going to get some. They're great at it. They get like 5, 6, 7 breakaways, it seems, a period. But you got to try and limit it as best as you can.
Going to be a high-speed one tomorrow between the Mavs and the Shamrocks to find who is the best team in Alberta before we head to the Founders in not too long. Again, my name's Aiden Bolsgaard. Cody Jansen had the call, and Mo was your color commentator. Gabby running the scorebug, and Tristan getting you all the great shots on the camera. Congratulations to the 2025 Rebels. It was a wonderful season, but an even bigger one to the Shamrocks, who head to the dance tomorrow. We'll see you there. Thanks for sticking around for your post-game show on CROW LAX TV. 2 p.m. start for the championships. Shamrocks, Mavericks. We'll see you then.